Tradesmen built America. Not policymakers or desk jockeys, but hardworking, blue-collared men and women. Join me, Roger Wakefield, on conversations with some of the nation's most successful skilled laborers. This is the Trade Talks. Are you the oldest plumber in the United States?
I'm not sure. I'm up there.
You are up there, aren't you?
Yes.
You still out in the field plumbing every day?
No, I go to the office every day. I don't go to the field every day. I go to the field some days. Depends on what we're doing, what job they're working on.
I love that. So how old were you when you started plumbing?
16.
I was about the same age. I think I had to, I don't want to say lie. I think I had to put a different date on my application form in order to get them to hire me. And you're 94 now.
Yes, I was 94, April the 7th.
You don't look 94. You move around pretty good.
Well, I'm thankful. I've had a little problem in the last 6 months up top, so I had to be careful how I walk.
Well, you did great walking across the stage here. I appreciate the opportunity to get to talk to you.
Well, I'm glad to be able here to talk, be able to be here to talk to you.
Isn't that a beautiful thing?
Amen.
So tell me about life when you first started plumbing. Did you work for somebody else or how did it all start out? What got you into plumbing 80 years ago? 78 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was born and raised on a farm. And, of course, we had to work, and I always enjoyed work. The main thing about working with me, I always wanted to know what I had to do and be one of the best at it. Now, that might sound crazy, but we did a lot of different things on the farm, and I want to learn about all of them. Coming up on the farm as a youngster, we had to walk to school, and school was about 8 miles away from the house. So I was 8 years old before I could start school because it was too small to could walk that far. So my father was in World War II, and after coming home from the Army, he got sick, and he had to go to Veterans Hospital. And of course, I'm one of 9, okay, and I'm the third one. So my mother said to me when I was 16 that I had to go to work to help take care of the younger ones. But she didn't tell me I had to go to work on the farm. And we lived about 12 miles from Norfolk City. We lived at that time, it was Princess Anne County. It's now Virginia Beach. So I caught the bus and went to Norfolk, got off the bus, and was walking down the block, hadn't got more than about a half a block. The fellow pulled up beside me and asked me if I wanted a job. I asked him, doing what? He said, plumber's helper. I didn't even know what the word plumbing meant. So on the farm, men made $1 a day from sun up to sundown. And I asked him, how much? He said, 60 cents an hour. Sound real good to me. Thinking about that $1 a day.
Absolutely.
So he took me over in Ghent. That's the part of Norfolk. Well, all of the big apartment houses had steam boilers in them. I won't say all of them had, but that's what we were working on. And I liked it. And he was good at what he was doing. So it didn't take me much time to be able to work with him. And from that, start working even with some of the other mechanics as a helper. And what got me was I was the newest thing around there, so I knew I was making less money than anybody else.
Uh-huh.
So I decided that I need to step up. I went night school, nights, and worked mornings. So I lived with my uncle when I went to Norfolk, between the two, between Booker T. High School and my uncle where he lived. And I think when I was 18, I got my first certificate as a plumber. I loved it, and I still love it.
What was it you loved about it back then? Because something you said, you wanted to be great at it. You knew you had to be great at it.
Well, about when I was about 8 years old on the farm, we lived in a house, and I say I'm one of 9. You could see the chickens and the dogs and things around under the house, and we in the house. The plumbing that I knew about was out in the backyard, a little house sitting over hole. And we didn't have all the facilities like a lot of people had at that time. And of course, I've got a chance to see some of them. And I said to the Lord, if you let me grow up to be a man, keep my health and strength, I'm going to change some of these things. And he did just that. He let me grow up to be a man, and I've had good health, and I've been putting my time in and trying to help other youngsters to get ahead. And of course, out of my 4 boys and 6 girls, we all been working around, and now I have a great granddaughter who has 2 sons, who's our office manager.
Out of all your family, you were number 3. You had to help raise the younger ones. Did you get any of them into plumbing?
Yes, after I got older and got my master's license, and we decided that we wanted to go in business, and that was about 65, and we started saving a little money together like a club, and got incorporated. And in '66, we went in business. 2 plumbing trucks and 1 oil truck.
Now, I've heard some stories. How hard was it for you to pull a permit when you first started?
In Norfolk, there were nobody looked like me that had a master's license, so they didn't have to worry about selling nobody.
Nobody that good looking?
No, with the complexion that I have.
Okay. You got a little bit better tan than I do.
All right, I accept that. They wouldn't even let a company who looks like me buy a permit. And of course that changed after a few years.
But from the way the story goes, you were part of that change. You didn't give up.
Oh, no, you can't give up. If you know what you want, you got to go for it. And I always say that everything we've had some hits since we've been in business. I mean, some big hits.
Right.
That cost some money. Okay, but every time we got in trouble, I'd say I'd be to myself and the Lord would say, "Go around the corner, boy." And when I go around the corner, that's the answer. You talk about those permits. Well, a lot of little towns around our area still had a problem with permits. So my sister sent away and got me a certificate, filled it out, sent it back to Richmond. And from there, I went to Richmond and took the state exam. So after that, some of the places we would go to work and go ask for a permit. They say, "You're not in our book." I tell them, "You're in the wrong book." So they didn't like it too good when they looked in that state book and saw my name.
I love that. So take just a second, and this is a special edition of the Trade Talks podcast. We're live at PHCC Connect 2024 here in Birmingham, Alabama. Take just a second and tell everybody who you are, what you do, and how old you are.
Well, my name is James E. Lindsey Sr. And as I said earlier, I'm the 3rd child of 9. We incorporated a business in 1966. So that's my job, and I've been doing it ever since. And I still do it. I go to the office each morning, And I'm normally the first one in the office because I have a nephew who takes care of the field work as the superintendent. He a little bit before me, a little bit after me in the office. So, of course, now business is a family business now.
Right.
Because I have sons and daughters and cousins, and nieces, and whatnot in the business.
How many plumbers around your area that you see every day do you know that you were part of their training, part of their upbringing?
Well, it's quite a few of them, and I know some of them, but they are younger, and sometime now, one of my sons may say, he used to work for us. Well, I might bring it back to my attention, but other than that, and we try to train people to do better.
Mm-hmm.
And when you did say plumbers, so we've had both people who look like myself and people who look more like you.
Not as good looking.
Maybe not, but
it is what it is.
But younger.
Oh yeah, a lot younger.
Okay. To even go and work for us for a few years and then go in business for themselves. And we still work together to some degree. They call on us sometime. We call on them. In fact, we have one company that I've been dealing with for maybe 56 years or so. I'm pretty sure you most of the people here heard of Atomic Plumbing.
Okay.
Jim Stanley, but he was apprentice when we started, and Mr. Lane, he took me one night. Well, he told me he wanted me to go with him one night because we had a service station that we worked our office out of, and he would buy gas for his trucks from us. And he said to me, he wanted me to go with him. So I said, fine, this is 50-some years ago. And he took me in this hotel, nice people, walked right up to the desk and said, this is our new member. And I've been a member ever since.
I love that. Now, I know plumbing hadn't changed a whole lot in 78 years.
You know something I don't know.
Okay, maybe it's changed just a little bit.
It has changed quite a bit.
It has, hasn't it?
My boys tell me, Daddy, you old-timey. But I understand what they mean by it. They say plumbing not like it used to be.
I hear that all the time. You're right.
They're changing every so often. And it's nice because all that cast iron pipe that I used to handle, I'm glad they don't have to do that.
It's a lot easier these days.
Oh, yeah.
How long's it been, or have any of your boys ever poured a lead joint?
Don't think so. I think we were through with that when they came along.
Yeah. I poured one for a video about, maybe a year ago now. And as soon as I pulled the pot off, I spilled it on the burner and all that. And I'm like, uh-oh, because it's on that hot propane tank. And I'm like, and they're like, y'all want us to edit that out? And I'm like, no, man, look, I made a mistake. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't do this. It's not the right way to do it. This video is sponsored by High Level. For your 30-day free trial, go to gohighlevel.com/Roger Wakefield.
Well, you're talking about lead joints. In Ghent, I was telling you about, that's where I started working over in Norfolk in that section. They had a lot of apartment buildings, tall, 4 or 5. When I say tall, not like today.
Right.
But, and for some reason, the age of them would break the lead bend at the lead joint. I was one of the best. When I say I was one of the best, because I worked for a plumber, and he kept me on them. Mm-hmm. So if I hadn't been one of the best, he would have put somebody else on.
Absolutely.
Rewiping them, fixing them, all them broken ones.
Absolutely.
And of course, I was so messed up. After I fixed the lead bin, I'd fix the ceiling too.
You learned how to do it all along the way. Right.
I never, when I look at things, I want to know, what do we need to do to fix it? Okay. And if it's in front of me, I want to make sure I get it fixed. So and we had the job to do all of that.
A lot of people talk about apprentices getting in the day. A lot of apprentices just want to get in and make a check. They don't want to get in and be good. They don't want to get in and be great. They just want a job where they can make a good living, a good check. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are sort of like what you just said. And in fact, if they would get to be apprentices, it would be great. Now, most of them don't want to get to be apprentices. You can't pay them to go to school. Now, why, I don't understand that, but they want money, but they don't even want to learn the trade.
What do apprentices start out at in your area? What kind of money? If I came in and said, Mr. Lindsey, look, I'm green, I don't know anything at all, but I'd like to learn plumbing. What kind of pay could I be looking at starting out in your area?
Roughly $15 an hour.
And have you ever had one complain about that? And you just slap them and say, let me tell you about 60 cents.
No, I've never told them that. They wouldn't understand it, so I wouldn't waste my time telling them. I can understand everybody needing money, okay? But you need to know something about what to do to make the money, okay? Say all these customers, now I'm going to send a man that knows nothing about plumbing to your house or anyone's house to do work. You're going to see that when they get there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And you're not going to want to pay for that job. And I can understand that.
What's the biggest change that you've seen in plumbing in just say like the last 20 years or so? I don't want to go back 78 years. In the last 20 years, what have been the biggest changes that you've seen from running a company in Virginia?
Trying to keep up with the change of the type of equipment you have to work with. We have 4 trucks on the road most of the time. We have more, but they're not studied like those 4. And you can find, in my judgment now, over $50,000 worth of equipment, or tools and equipment in that one truck. When I used to solder copper pipe, I had to wait for that water stop running and blow the lines out and all that. I don't have to do that no more.
Stick bread in them.
Oh, yeah.
All kinds of crazy stuff. I know.
Now we stick a fitting on it, and press.
Squeeze it. Yep.
And you're gone. They say, well, you were only here a little while. But now think about the fact, if I'd have been there waiting for the water to stop running, packing bread in, then trying to get it out, okay? And then I have to solder the joint, but all I had to do is press it. You know, that's just one, but they got if you look down that line there, I saw some things down there I haven't seen before. I
tell people every day there's new tools, materials, techniques, and equipment every single day.
Right.
And if you're not coming to shows like this, you're not figuring it out.
I agree, and we have thousands and thousands of dollars worth of tools, the new types of tools, new sewer machines, new sink waste machines, you name it. And they come in handy.
How long did it take you before you bought your first camera?
I would say probably took us about 20 years.
Okay.
We bought our first.
So when they first came out, were you one of the first ones?
But see, I've always been in the group where, like I say, Mr. Lane, he was up and on top of things, and we were real good friends. See, he could call us to work, and he didn't have to pay us. We could call him to work, and we didn't have to pay him either.
You bet.
And we still do it, even today with Mr. Jim. I said Jim Land. That's the old one. Jim Stanley. Yeah, that's who's the owner now. Been for years. You know, if you're in there where people are doing things, you can soon catch on to what's going on if you want to. And I always wanted to.
And I love that. And I was talking to somebody earlier. I said one of my favorite things is literally, and I love the things that I learned here walking through the expo hall, talking to the vendors, talking about the new tools, the new materials, the new equipment, all that. But, you know, sitting down at dinner or over a drink at the bar with somebody at the end of the night, you can learn things that a lot of people won't tell you. You're learning about things that other people tried that didn't work or things they did that worked. It's building relationships like that is phenomenal.
I agree with you 100%. You can see a truck going down the street with a jet behind it. Well, we never heard of nothing like that. I mean, we got over $100,000 in jets. I mean, so it's a different time. I can tell you
It's
that.
completely different.
Oh yeah, and it's nice because we work for the cities, we work for the schools. I mean, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Virginia Beach, and where everybody they call for work to be done, we ready. And I always figured that if you want to do the job, you got to have some tools to do it with.
And I used to be an instructor in the union. And back when I first started the union supplied all their tools. Then they changed it in the middle of it and said, okay, we're going to give you a tool allowance. And they give you so much each month to keep covering your tools, keep replacing your tools. And then they've got to supply a lot of the power tools. But I was talking to a service plumber one day, and he was talking about his efficiency rate. He says, I'm 100% efficient. And I'm like, okay, I've worked around a lot of plumbers. How are you 100% efficient? How do you bill out 8 hours or more every day? And he said, Roger, I have every tool on my truck, and the tools that they don't supply that I want. He had his own leak detection equipment. He had his own camera. He had certain things that normally if they'd go out, they say, well, we'll send somebody out with that in an hour or so. Mm-hmm. Well, he's like sitting there for an hour not doing anything. Mm-hmm. So he started buying his own tools, and now he's got his own company because he's like, look, I learned how to run and be efficient and do things like that. And it always gets down to tools. Do you get your employees whatever tools they need, or how are you set up like that?
Our trucks are loaded with tools.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, yeah. You got to have a tool if you're going to do the job. Now, we don't do leak let me back up. Yes, we don't do leak detection.
And that was my specialty, so that was a big deal for us.
Yeah, well, that's good. We got few of those, that's their specialty. That's all they do in our area. So we just call one of them. Now, we don't sit there and wait for them, though. They mark it, we go back and do it.
You bet.
Yeah, okay. But when it comes to all these other tools that you're talking about, we have them either on the truck or somebody brings it behind a truck, so, we try to be what we need to be to get the job done. Most people that call us get their job done.
This video is sponsored by High Level. We've partnered up with High Level because we believe this is the best all-in-one sales and marketing platform to help you grow your business. For your 30-day free trial, go to gohighlevel.com/Roger Wakefield. So if you were talking to a young plumbing company owner right here, and he said, Mr. Lindsey, look, I'm just starting out. What do I need to know to be good?
What do I need to know to be good?
Yeah.
Number one, you know how to do the work. If you're going to do it, now maybe some smart people out here that know how to tell somebody else how to do it. That's fine. But it pays for you to know what to do if you're going to be in business, because you got to satisfy your customers. And I tell in our office, I tell them in our group, everybody got a boss. And everybody who calls you on the phone and gives us a job is my boss.
Absolutely.
Because that's the person who's paying me. So you need to know what to do and how to do it and how to tell somebody else how to do it. Everybody on those trucks are not as professional as the person who runs the business. So sometimes you have to give them a hand. Mm-hmm. And we have about 4 master plumbers, about 5 master plumbers. Because one of them, master plumber, he left us. He went and got his lawyer license, and then he went and got a judgeship. That was one of my sons. So everybody has to work. but you need to know what to do. Okay, so you need experience. That's the name of the game. That's what this is all about.
So 78 years of plumbing experience. Do you know everything there is about plumbing now?
No sirree, don't even know all the tools, especially with all these new ones coming out.
Yeah, it's funny because one of the things I teach young apprentices is never stop learning.
No,
Never stop learning. How many apprentices do you have right now that you're training to be plumbers?
we don't have one,
No apprentices?
not a one. Now we would love to have, and we would pay to send them to school. They come and they talk about it, but that's about far as they've been getting for the last few years.
How hard is it to get a license in Virginia?
It's not hard at all if you know the trade and know how to take the exam. And that's another thing that's going on. And I'm not criticizing anybody for it because I had to do the same thing. If you want to do it, do it. But be good at what you do so that the people will utilize you. Out of this 59 years that we have been in business, we couldn't have been in this business 59 years without the help of God. That's how we made it this far.
I love that.
Yeah, we've had some trouble now. He's always been there to help us out.
Have you ever met a plumbing company owner that never had a problem?
If I did, I didn't know it.
And if he told you, he was lying.
I believe that too.
I think that's neat. So we're at PHCC Connect 2024 in Birmingham, Alabama, and it's been such a pleasure to speak with you. Do me a favor and tell everybody again who you are, the name of your company, and how they can get in touch with you.
Well, my name is James Lindsey Sr. I happen to be the co-owner, and when I say that, it's a corporation, but I happen to be the largest stockholder. It's a family business, and we have several of our families in the business: plumbers, office workers, and I think I mentioned to you earlier that my great niece is our office manager. So that tells you how. She has 2 sons. We're still here, and our business is at 865 Newtown Road, Virginia Beach, Virginia. And I thank God that He's allowing us to do what we do to help the people that needs our type of service.
Well, thank you for being here. God bless you, and I love hearing your story. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
And thank you.